Rosie here at Just Chill Baby Sleep. Today I'm talking about independent sleep, which is pretty much the holy grail for babies and children going to sleep. So what is independent sleep? Independent sleep is when a child or a baby can go down to sleep themselves without crying. It's very common that small babies really struggle to do this. So if you're struggling, don't panic. One day your baby will be able to do this themselves. Around 60% of babies can do this around the 6-month mark. That doesn't mean it's abnormal if your baby isn't doing it yet. There's some things you can do to help them sleep independently. It's very normal for young babies to wake and feed in the night, but around the 6-month mark, if they are getting solid food and balanced milk feeds during the day, it is possible for them to sleep through independently. Some babies will naturally do it much earlier than this. I have known babies a lot smaller just do it themselves without the parents seemingly have to do anything. That can happen, but with lots of us, it doesn't happen just on its own. So there's a few things you can do to help your baby. I don't believe in rights and wrongs with sleep, but there's certain suggestions I can give to try and help you. So number 1, daytime routine. Try and get onto the feed, play, sleep routine. So you might have a feed first in the morning, then have a bit of a play, and then think about putting them down for a nap. Using that kind of structure to your day can really help. Reading their sleepy cues when they're looking tired. Try and anticipate it so they're not getting overtired and you're getting them down for a nice, good, quality nap. In order for them to self-settle, you want to get them at a good point of the day. Independent sleep comes from creating a really good sleep environment. So also, we want a nice dark room, potentially a comforter, depending on the age of the baby, if they're 6 months and up, a small comforter in the cot, a nice clear cot, a nice safe cot. Dummy use, that can sometimes help babies and sometimes hinder them. Totally depends on the child. If they wake up and they can't fall asleep independently because the dummy keeps falling out, you might need to look at potentially getting rid of the dummy. With small babies, the main thing is just teaching them the difference between night and day. It's a good foundation for independent sleep, whether they can do it or not. So you'd be looking at during the night, any night feeds you're doing, keep them nice and dark, keep them calm, not too much stimulation in the night. Whereas in the day, after you've fed, you could have a bit of playtime, a bit of tummy time is brilliant for our baby's core strength, and learning to move around in the daytime is really, really great. So balancing naps is the other thing. Depending on the age of the baby, they're probably going to be doing 2 or 3 naps, possibly 4 if they're very small. Obviously newborns sleep all the time and that is totally normal. At 6 months, we'd be looking probably at 2 to 3 naps a day. Anticipate when they're going to need them. Most of them need one around 2 hours after they wake, and then after that, depends on your baby's awake window, what they naturally do. I don't like to give specific awake windows but without knowing your child, so it's kind of like a bit of a puzzle working out where their sweet spot is for sleep. So you've got your nice routine in the day, you want darkness, give it time. It can take babies a long time to learn to sleep independently. What you can do to help them is start something new at bedtime. The key thing is melatonin, our sleepy hormone, is really high at bedtime. So you do have biology on your side if you're introducing something new to baby. So the first thing I would say is try to get them down awake or drowsy rather than fast asleep. It can be quite jarring for a baby to fall asleep in one place and wake up somewhere completely different. They don't know where you are, they don't know where they are, so sometimes they can wake up distressed and wonder what's going on. It's also a safety mechanism for babies in the night because when we are in a deep sleep, we are really vulnerable. So the body wants to check, is it safe for us to fall back to sleep in our deep sleep again? If it's not safe, they will wake up and want what it was that got them to sleep in the first place. So that's the beginning key point to independent sleep. So getting them down awake. If you struggle with that and baby gets really upset, it might be that you do it really gently. So you start off where you were feeding to sleep, you might cuddle them to sleep. Then you might stay with them in the cot with your hand on them. Then it might be that gradually you move away from the cot and use a method called gradual retreat, which I really like. So every night you move closer to the door. That can help. Totally depends on your baby, their personality, how you feel about it, and how they react to what you're doing. If they find it comforting, then stay with them for a little while and perhaps reduce that level of comfort across a period of a few weeks, and that can be really, really helpful. Some of them respond really well to verbal cues. My favourite one is shh, shh, shh. So 3 long shushes to reassure them that you're there, that everything is okay. Some of them don't do this straight away. You don't have to leave your baby to cry, but if they're not crying, then do leave them. Some of them might move around or talk in their sleep. That's totally normal. It's normal for babies to stir in their sleep during the night, as we all do. We're designed to move around, otherwise we would get bed sores. So, if your baby's pottering around in the cot, is what I call it, you can leave them to it. If they're not asking for your support, don't rush in there and think, the quicker I get in, the quicker we all get back to sleep. And I'm talking about older babies here. Obviously with newborns and 4th trimester, they're going to need a feed, so you do get in there quickly. But with older babies, it's bedtime and they've had a feed. Don't rush in. If they're just happy and content in their own company, that's a really positive thing. If they're rolling around, happy, blowing raspberries, maybe talking to themselves, it's quite normal for babies and children to do that. My oldest daughter, Daisy, actually talks herself to sleep often, talks or sings or chatters, and that's perfectly fine. I would never interrupt that process for her, which is her relaxing. The other thing, obviously, if you're starting this in the evening, is a really good, solid bedtime routine, doing the same things in the same order every night. Ideally aiming, depending on age, for around 7 o'clock in the evening. Obviously, younger babies are still going to need a feed in the night, but trying to get them down initially before they get overtired and anticipating when their bodies are really, really ready for sleep. So I hope that is helpful. Independent sleep, as I said, is the holy grail. It can take time. Have patience. If you're introducing something new, it can take a few days, a few weeks, or even a few months if it's going to, be very, very gentle process. Don't lose hope. Everyone does sleep independently eventually. We all get there. So keep hope, keep up the good work, and best of luck. Bye for now.